Levack Goz here with you on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And tonight is the premiere of the newest 30 for 30 film on ESPN, Hit It Hard, a profile on golfer John Daly. And joining us now, he's the director of the film, which premieres tonight at 8 o'clock. Gabe Spitzer joins us. And Gabe, why did you want to profile John Daly for your 30 for 30?
Well, growing up in the 90s, he was an athlete that always stood out. The blonde hair, long blonde hair, mullet, mustache, crazy clothes. And I was a huge golf fan, but he was a huge sports fan. So just started thinking about, crazy sports stories from the 90s, and John's was always there. The insane highs, winning 2 majors, and then the lows of rehab, gambling addiction, different issues he was going through in his life. So in telling, 30 for 30 does such a great job of telling stories in a deeper way than you might already know. So we wanted to just go more in depth in John's life and also spend some time with him today just to see what his life was like 25 years after those glory days.
And I think one of the most amazing parts of the 30 for 30 is that younger fans, I hope, don't forget how incredible it was for him to just win that first major in the early 90s. It
was insane. Ninth alternate, he finds out on a Wednesday, the tournament starts Thursday, he finds out pretty much Wednesday at midnight that he has a possibility of getting in the tournament. He throws his clubs in the back of his car. He's in Tennessee and drives 9 hours to get to Indianapolis, finds out he's in the tournament, and goes on and dominates the thing. So it's just an insane sports story that a lot of people forget.
Levack Goz here with you on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And my partner Levack had touched on this earlier, that you were a kid of the 90s and you grew up with John Daly. And Levack feels that same way when he thinks about John Daly, that he remembers all of this. It was the Tiger almost before the Tiger when it came to popularity, right, Levack?
Absolutely. That's what I was taken away. I'm watching this thing, and I'm taken back to my freshman year in high school when this big guy who all he does is hit the golf ball hard. I'm like, all of a sudden, I want to play golf. Is that kind of where you were at when you saw this? This is a guy who brought you into the world of golf?
Totally. He was the guy who made anyone feel like they could be good at golf. Felt like he just came off the street, as just normal average Joe from Arkansas. As obviously it wasn't really that way. You practiced his whole life leading up to it, but he made everyone feel like they could just go out and hit the ball farther than anyone else.
Levack Goz here with you on 104.5 The Team, and joining us now, he's the director of the newest 30 for 30 film, Hit It Hard, a profile on John Daly, and that debuts tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN. After that big win in that first major for John Daly, the personality of Daly, is that the reason why his downward spiral began? Was it just too much pressure on someone too soon who just wasn't ready for the spotlight?
Yeah, I think you hit it exactly. A 25-year-old kid, he lived, grew up pretty middle class, lower class, and suddenly it's just like he's getting millions of dollars thrown at him. Everyone wants a piece of him. And at the same time, he was battling some issues, drinking and other things going on in his life. So he's thrown into the spotlight overnight, basically, and doesn't really know how to handle it. And starts, doesn't practice as much as he used to, which was really what got his game to as good as it used to be. And things start tumbling a little bit. And as you know, what happens in the sports world, as soon as you're showing a little bit of vulnerability, people pile it on. And I think that got to John a little bit in those early 90s years.
Gabe Spitzer with us right now, Levack Goz on 104.5 The Team. He's the director of Hit It Hard, the 30 for 30 you're going to see tonight on ESPN about John Daly. Gabe, did you get to spend a lot of time with John? Because I have to believe that he's one of the coolest guys to actually be around.
Definitely. There's some good stories hanging out with John. It took a little bit of time just to convince John to trust us to tell the story. He's been burned by the media in the past, and but he also believes in the 30 for 30 brand, and that we'd given him a fair shot. So we went down to the Masters last April, and he was selling his pants outside of Hooters. It's the scene that you see in the movie. And we weren't convinced yet that we were going to do the documentary, but we met him and, ate some wings with him in his bus right outside of Hooters and talked it out. And he said, guys, grab the cameras, you can start filming. So that's how it began, and spent time with him last year in Arkansas, went to the British Open with him at St. Andrews, on the 20th anniversary of him winning there. So had some good experiences with John. He's a really great guy. What you see is what you get with him. It's nothing different.
We know the 30 for 30 films are limited to 1 hour. Was there one moment hanging out with John Daly or one story that you just wish you could have kept in the film that won't air tonight?
Yeah, it's just, we could have gone a lot more in depth into his backstory. We did a little bit, but just growing up, he lived a pretty crazy life of just nobody in Arkansas was playing golf, and he was really self-taught. He happened to live next to a golf course, so he's fishing balls out of the water. selling them to the people who were members of the club just to try to make a little bit of money, just to pay the green fees, things like that. So more just how John Daly became John Daly. That's the part we had to cut down a little bit.
The 30 for 30 is called Hit It Hard. It's on tonight on ESPN. Gabe, when we're done watching this, what are you hoping the message you got across to us, the viewer, is?
I think it's that we all go through issues in our lives, and John's was just, he was thrust into the media spotlight. But you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, and it's like how you come out of them. And I think that's one big thing we wanted people to see is what John's like today. And it's not no one has a perfect fairy tale ending like you see in the movies. John's had good times, he's had bad times, but he's at peace with where he's at today. And I think that's a lesson a lot of people can take away with him.
Gabe Spitzer with us. And Gabe, I got to wonder, like when you do a 30 for 30 on John Daly, how do you follow that up? Is there what athlete possibly has the aura around him of a John Daly?
It's going to be a tough one. It's been a great experience the last couple of years being with this guy. So I got to, get back to work and figure out the next crazy story to tell.
Well, check out this crazy story tonight, 30 for 30 on ESPN. Hit It Hard, directed by Gabe Spitzer. Gabe, thanks for making time for us.
Thanks a lot, guys.